Hey, come closer. I gotta tell you a secret. Come closer. I want to tell you a secret. I have a secret that's going to help you to become a better public speaker, a more engaging speaker, and attract your ideal audience with learning how to speak so that you engage the hearts of ideal customers. Is that something you're interested in? Okay, I'm going to talk to you about something that hardly anybody is talking about in the public speaking industry. You ready for this secret? Okay, let's get into it. You're listening to the Grind and Gratitude Show. Welcome to the Grind and Gratitude Show. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you so much. If you're an avid listener, you already know Coach Stone got a lot of love for you. Wait a minute. You're saying, who's Coach Stone? Well, let me tell you. I am Danny Stone, also known as Coach Stone, is in the building. I help hero entrepreneurs speak to make more income, impact, and influence and attract their ideal customers. Now, one of the things that I really love about doing this podcast is that I get so many messages from you all over the world, and you're talking about how this podcast is really helping you to change your life. And that means so much to me. And I want to say thank you to all of the listeners in over 55 countries. You know, myself and the team, we really love hearing from you. Keep listening, keep downloading, keep sharing. Now, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a side hustler, if you're somebody who has a big mission and a cause, then this episode is for you. This is going to be a really powerful conversation that you and I are going to have. And one of the things that I really want to tell you is I want to tell you this big secret that hardly anybody is talking about when it comes to public speaking. And the reason why a lot of people aren't really talking about it is because when people teach you how to be a really amazing speaker, most people are still operating from an old way of teaching people how to speak. It's the tell method. Tell them what you're going to tell them what you just told them, and then, sorry. See, I don't even know because I haven't been using it for a long time. It's the tell method. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you just told them. That's the method that a lot of people learn how to speak on. So you stand up and say, I'm going to talk to you today about this. You tell them about that topic and you say, you basically wrap up and say, this is just what I just told you. That is a very old way of teaching people how to speak. And in that method, there's not a lot of engagement. There's not a lot of really getting the audience into the topic that you're speaking about. There's not a lot of connection. Like you're not forming a deep connection because you're talking at people. You're not talking with them. There's no conversation going on. And so the tell method has been around for a long time. And I know a lot of people who still teach that method. And that's okay. That's fine. But if you want a more effective method, especially if you're a business owner and you want to attract your ideal customers and attract your ideal clients so that you don't have to keep chasing them, I have a better method. And this method is based on instruction. It's based on a teaching method. See, for many, many years, I used to teach in the corporate world. I was a corporate trainer and instructor. I used to teach at a college. I was a job search facilitator. I used to teach job search workshops. So I've been a facilitator, a teacher, and a trainer for many, many years. And there's something that I learned many years ago, and it's really about how to be an excellent instructor, how to give excellent instruction so that people understand it and they will use it. So that's what happened. That's what I learned many years ago in the teaching and instruction and in facilitation world. But here's what's interesting. No one has ever, I shouldn't say no one, but I don't hear a lot of people applying that same method to speaking. So the big secret is this: the tell, show, do, apply strategy for good instruction or great instruction is a method that is amazing for public speaking. It's amazing to have these four principles in your speech, and when you're thinking about your speech and in your talk, when you apply these four principles, you will be a more engaging speaker, a more impactful speaker, but more importantly, you will leave the audience with a decision to make. And that decision is, do I want to keep life the same, or am I ready to make that shift into my new life? That's what that's the introduction that you make. So with the tell, show, do method, this is the big secret that hardly anyone is talking about. If you want to be compelling when you're on your speech, if you want to be engaging, if you want people to think about something different, if you want people to do something different, if you want people to take action, this method is really going to help you. The tell, show, do, apply. It's 4 simple steps. It's 4 simple principles. And if you master these 4 principles, you will be a really impactful speaker. You'll be a really impactful speaker. Now, I'm not saying that a lot of the other things don't matter. Your tone of voice, the speed at which you speak, your eye contact, your body language, pausing, the way that you use the stage. I'm not saying that none of those things are important, but what I'm saying is, if you learn these 4 things, the tell, show, do, apply method, and you apply it to public speaking, you are going to be a more engaging and impactful speaker. I know this because I've been using this method for many years. I've been teaching this to a lot of my coaching clients, and we've seen amazing results. There have been tremendous shifts in the way that we speak and in how people engage with our speeches, how people react, and then the action that people take afterwards. One of the biggest problems when many people give a speech is the speech can be very inspirational. It can be very factual. You can give people a lot of information. And what happens after that is people leave inspired sometimes, but then a day or two later or next week, they don't know what to do. They feel more lost because you introduced them to what their new life could look like, or their new business or their new career, or whatever it is, the topic that you're talking about, but you don't leave them with instructions. You don't leave them with next steps. And that was a huge mistake that I used to make when I was speaking. I would get on stage, I'd pour my heart out, tell amazing stories, engage the audience, and then I would just leave them. And they would walk away feeling inspired. And then they would say, well, what am I supposed to do? I don't know how to do that. What did Danny say that I was supposed to do next? I don't remember what he said. I never left people with a call to action or an invitation or to apply what it is what I just talked about. So the tell, show, do method is going to help you to be a more powerful, impactful speaker. So now what you're saying is, Coach Stone, like, break this down, break it down like a fraction. Let me make sure that I can understand this. I get it, because I know I'd be thinking the same thing. So let's talk about it. Tell, show, do, apply. The basic instruction for the basic strategies for excellent instruction. So the first method, or the first strategy, is tell. When you're talking about teaching, you want to tell them what you're going to tell them. You want to introduce them to the new idea, the concept. Well, guess what? In speaking, you want to do the same thing. With the tell, you want to introduce your compelling, overarching message, right? You want to introduce them to your new thought, the new message, this powerful, inspiring new way forward. That's what you're going to tell them. So that comes out in the way that you start your speech. You come out, it's really compelling. You're engaging. You're introducing people to the new concept or the new idea or the new way forward. And so you really want to come out on stage and be vibrant. You want to, I had a previous video about this. It's 10 ways to start your speech on fire. You can go and watch that on my YouTube at I Am Danny Stone on YouTube. And that was a really powerful video because I I showed you 10 different ways that you can start your speech on fire. And that's what you want to do. You want to come out and you want that tell. You want that tell to be very powerful. You want it to be convincing. You want to speak with conviction. You want people to understand that this is a new way, a new idea, or it's something they may have heard before, but you're reminding them of that. So that's the power of the tell. So when you come out and you start your speech, you're going to tell them what the new way looks like. You're going to do that in a very engaging way, a thought-provoking way, a way that makes people want to lean in and say, okay, maybe I don't agree or maybe I do agree, but I want to hear more. That's what the tell is all about. Then you move to the second strategy, which is the show. The show is really about showing them what you're going to talk to them about. In instruction, you usually do a demonstration, right? So if you're giving somebody or teaching somebody something, the show is, hey, let me show you how to do this. I'm going to do it first, and then I'll get you to do it later. So you're saying, well, that's cool when you're coming to teaching, but if I'm speaking to an audience of 100 or 200 or 5,000 or 10,000 people, how can I show them how to do something? Like, we're not in a classroom, Coach Stone. You know, Coach Stone is always thinking, right? The show is where you introduce your stories. We have to stop telling stories and start showing the story. And what do I mean by that? You say, well, you know, you stand up there and you tell somebody a story, right? When I used to work in my corporate world, I was fed up with my job and I wanted a way out. So what I did was I started researching how to start your own business. And then I researched it and went and started my own business. And eventually I quit my job. That's telling the story. I'm giving you all the details. You get it. I went from point A to point B. I was working in a job that I didn't want to be in. I researched how to quit my job and then I left. That's telling the story. We want to show the story. We want to give people the full experience. So, for example, instead of saying what I just said to tell you the story, I can show you the story. I can say, I remember in 2014 when I was working in my corporate job, I was working 10 hours a day. I was overworked. I was underpaid. I was stressed out. I had gained about 30 pounds and I was really kind of lacking self-confidence. And I just wanted things to be different. I didn't want to be working in that job. So many people were taking sick leave and stress leave. And I felt stuck. I felt trapped because I had no way out, or I didn't think I had a way out. And every day I would go to this job and it wasn't like every day I hated the job, but I just wasn't passionate about it. I just didn't see myself there long term, but I didn't know what's next. And I had always thought about starting my own business, but I just didn't know how. I'd seen some friends start a business and I'd seen lots of people on social media make it seem so easy. But when I started looking into it, it was difficult to start my own business. But I had a goal and I had a dream to start my own business. So I started researching. I hired a coach and then I started learning. And eventually I became more confident with the idea of quitting my job and starting my own business. And I remember I worked hard for 6 months. I wrote my book, You Have the Keys Now Drive. And I remember saying to myself, when I launch this book, I'm quitting this job and I'm starting my coaching business. And 6 months later, the book came out on Amazon. I walked into my boss's office. I said, hey, here's my 2 weeks notice. I'm leaving. And then 2 weeks later, I quit my corporate job and started my coaching business. So now, do you see the difference between what I first said about telling you the story and showing you the story? In showing you the story, I was talking about how I was feeling at the time. I gave you a time frame so you knew it was 2014. I laid the foundation for what was going on around me and what was happening within me. I'm showing you the story. So you can show people the story. And when you show people the story, it's almost like they're there with you. They're going through the emotions. They can tap into how you were feeling. And guess what? It's not about how you were feeling. They can tap into their own emotions and think of times when they felt that way. That's the power of showing your story. So that's the second strategy in the tell, show, do, apply. You tell them what you're going to tell them, the new way forward, the new idea, the concept. You show them by showing them the stories, right? And then the do part. Now, the do part is all about getting them to do something in instruction. So in instruction, I tell them, hey, this is what I'm going to talk to you about today. And by the end of this lesson, you're going to learn these things. Then I show them, I do some demonstrations along the way. Then I get them to do it. That's what you do in instruction. So how can you apply the getting them to do something when you're speaking? Well, you get them to do something by interacting with them. Hey, if any of you can ever relate to that story, raise your hand if you've ever felt stuck in your job like that. If you've ever had a friend or someone tell you that you're not good enough or you can't do this, raise your hand or turn to the person next to you and say, you are enough. You get them engaged and get them to do something. And then what you do is you show them a step-by-step process. The step-by-step process can be, look, I had a client that was stuck and they were overweight and they were lacking confidence. And these are the 4 steps that I show them. So you teach them your method. What is your method? What are the things that you teach people? What makes you stand out in your industry as a business owner, right? Teach them something. And you can teach them that thing by laying out the concept and showing how you've applied it or how you've taught it to other people. Or if you have a product, then maybe it's, what goes into making the product to make sure that the product meets the needs of your clients. There's always a way that you can get people to do something by showing them the method and getting them to identify themselves along the way. Asking questions, getting them to engage with each other, asking them to do something. Close your eyes and think about a time when this happened to you. Do you remember that? What were the steps that you took to get through that? It's probably the steps that I teach people. It's probably these 4 things. Can you see how you did those 4 things and you were able to make it through that challenge or accomplish that goal? So you can get them to do something by teaching them a method and engaging them along the way, right? And client testimonials are a great way. Reading testimonials. Your client was at point A and you brought them to point D. Client testimonials is a great way to get them to do something because they're interacting with you. That's how you get them to do something. And then the last piece of the tell, show, do, apply method is apply. It's apply. How do you get your audience to apply something that you just spoke to them about? And this is the biggest mistake I used to make. I never used to have a call to action, a call to the new way at the end of my presentation. So your call to action can be, asking a question. Are you ready to make this shift in your life? And if you are, what are you going to do different tomorrow? That's a call to action. That's a call to apply what they're learning. If you're ready to go deeper, if you're ready to lose weight, if you're ready to grow your business, let me help you. I have a brand new 5-day challenge that's going to help you to speak so that you attract your ideal clients and you don't have to chase them. If you're ready to do that, raise your hand. I want you to take out your phones and go to iamdannystone.com/challenge right now and sign up for the 5-day challenge. Some type of call to action like that is how you get people to start to apply what it is that you learned. And sometimes and oftentimes when we give a speech, we just leave people. We're just like, okay, we do the tell method. You tell them what you're going to tell them. You tell them, and then you tell them what you just told them. And then you walk off the stage. The tell, show, do, apply method is you tell them what you're going to tell them. You show them with stories and examples, right? Then you get them to do something. by engaging them with each other, or getting them to engage with you, or getting them to visualize themselves in different various situations. And then you ask them to apply it. You make that call to action at the end of your speech, and you get them to apply, whether it's going deeper with you, buying your books, your products, your services, your coaching. You get them to do something. Sign up for your mailing list, register for your podcast, or just simply make a commitment to themselves. What is one thing that you're going to do that you can do different tomorrow? I want you to think about that. And when you wake up tomorrow, I want you to do that thing. So this is a big secret that a lot of people aren't talking about in the speaking industry. Applying an instruction or teaching method to speaking. I hardly hear anybody talking about this, but I promise you, if you learn these 4 things, you learn these 4 strategies: the tell, show, do, apply. If you learn this, and you even do it half as good as you possibly could, you are going to engage your audience. They're going to remember you, and they're going to get curious about what it is that you do. And if you're a business owner, they're going to want to be like, lean into your products and your services. And eventually some of those people will become customers and clients. So this is a big thing that I don't talk to many people about. I only share this with my coaching clients. But the tell, show, do, apply method, I am telling you, if you apply this to speaking, to your talks, you will have phenomenal engagement. You will be memorable, and you will get people engaged in your cause, your mission, or to buy from you. So that's the big secret I wanted to share with you. And now that the secret's out, go ahead. You can share this secret with other people. Please share this podcast episode with other people that may want to be out here speaking, or may want to make a greater impact in the world, or business owners that are trying to attract their ideal clients. Share this episode. Please make sure that you subscribe to the podcast. And if you really love the podcast, or you love this episode, then leave a review. So I wanted to share that with you really quickly. You know, I break these things down in my speaking program, but I wanted to kind of share this with you because not a lot of people are really talking about the tell, show, do, apply method as it relates to being an impactful speaker. And so I wanted to share with you because I love hanging out with you. I love the fact that you're my co-host. And I love just bringing you information that I'm learning, having conversations with guest experts, and even talking about my failures, because that's how we learn, right? That's how we grow as individuals and as entrepreneurs and business owners. So I would love to hear from you as always. If you have a takeaway from this episode, send me a message on Instagram at I am Danny Stone. I would love to hear from you. So that's it, everybody. That's it for this episode of the Grind and Gratitude Show. I will catch you in the next episode. Take care, everybody.